welcome to Mayor Cantor's State of the Town Address. I'm Chris Conway, the Executive Director of the West Hartford Chamber of Commerce, or as our, oh, thank you. Or as I'm more commonly known, the new Barbara Lerner. Barbara was hoping to join us today. Always a class act, she did send her regrets from Florida, where it will be 77 degrees today. Apparently, I still have a lot to learn. I'm happy to see so many from the West Hartford community here today, including members of our town council and other town representatives. We're also joined today by state representatives Jillian Gilchrist and Derek Slapp. Of course, we have several members of our business community and many of our nonprofit partners in attendance. We're also joined today by many private citizens with a deep interest in their community. Welcome. We have many members of our Chamber of Commerce and Flow, future leaders of West Hartford, in attendance. Several representatives from the Chamber and Flow boards are with us today. Including our Chamber Chairman, Bob Kulikowski, and our Flow President, Kristen Gorski. I'd like to ask the members of both boards to stand to be recognized. So if you're a Chamber Board or a Flow Board member, please stand. Thank you for your service and the guidance you provide the Chamber. I would also like to personally welcome Mayor Cantor and the members of her family. Thank you for being with us today. Presenting the Mayor's State of the Town Address is both an honor and a privilege for the Chamber. For over a century, the town and Chamber have maintained a strong, symbiotic relationship with a shared mission to make West Hartford a wonderful place to live, work, and play. The Chamber's involvement in organizing the Mayor's Address is a vivid illustration of this partnership. While I'm new to my role, I'm no stranger to West Hartford. I've always found this to be a community of individuals dedicated to openness, collaboration, and enrichment. In my brief time as Executive Director, I've had the opportunity to connect with Mayor Cantor and other community leaders to consider successes, challenges, and opportunities for West Hartford. In each instance, these have been approached in the spirit of partnership, encompassing many points of view. In the end, the goal is the same, a stronger West Hartford. Speaking of partnerships, an event such as this is not possible without the generosity of our sponsors. Thank you to our presenting sponsor, TD Bank, our gold sponsors, Innovative Health Concepts, the Mercy Community, Simsbury Bank, Stenger Stanfield Law, and UHY Advisors. Our silver sponsors, Daily Moving and Storage, and AFC Urgent Care. Our audio-visual sponsor today is Cedar Hill Home Inspection, and our media sponsor is WH Media Group. These businesses are more than logos on a screen. They are also organizations who work in their own ways toward a stronger community. We thank them for their support of today's program. I'm excited to hear Mayor Cantor's assessment of the current state of the town and her vision for what the future holds. I'm also looking forward to working with her and others in the town to explore the ways the Chamber can be an active partner in fulfilling that vision. I would like to now invite TD Bank Regional Vice President Steve Litchfield to the podium to say a few words before he introduces the Mayor. Steve.
Well, thank you, Chris, and welcome, everyone. This is always a great event. Well attended, a lot of enthusiasm in the room, a lot of excitement. We're certainly here to hear Shari's comments about the state of our town, but I'm also reminded that this is Chris Conway's first event here in West Hartford. So on behalf of all of us, Chris, we want to welcome you to the town. Chris will find that we have an active chamber here in town, an active business development and recruitment effort on all fronts, and it's served us well over the years. So again, welcome, Chris, and look forward to working with you. I'm joined by many of my colleagues here from TD Bank today. It's an honor for us to be the presenting sponsor of the Mayor's State of the Town Address. I've been a resident of the town for 25 years myself, and I'm proud to call West Hartford my home. I want to give you a few updates on TD Bank and then tie in a few things of what we're doing as well as what the town's doing. I think you'll see a lot of similarities in terms of the activities on both parties. The first is around economic development. I continue to be impressed by not only the large number of companies and industries that we attract to West Hartford, but the diverse number of industries. It's a testimony to really the group in the Economic Development Group, the Mayor's Office, Planning and Zoning, Engineering Office, so many people involved in making this a success story. I'm also pleased to see as much residential development as we had in town, and I'm sure the mayor will comment on some of the more significant projects that have been announced in recent weeks. TD, for its part, continues to pull its weight in the small business arena. For the second year in a row, we were named as the top SBA lender in the state of Connecticut. We received 4 awards last month, one for the largest number of loans made under the 7A program, but also the largest number of loans made to minority groups, women-owned businesses, and veterans groups. So we're quite proud of that accomplishment for the second year in a row. Second, with regards to social and corporate responsibility, West Hartford has its own The Town That Cares Fund, an organization that serves so many interests here in town. Despite the demographic and income information, we know that there are many families and citizens in our town who need basic services, so it's great to see the support that the town offers in that regard. And TD, for its share, along with many other banks here that are represented here, have also stepped up their commitment to support the not-for-profit agencies throughout the region. For the last several years, our commitment from our foundation, our community sponsorship, and our local business initiatives have generated over $1.2 million back into the community, and we're quite proud to support so many organizations here in West Hartford as well as in the Hartford region. I'm also pleased to say that TD Bank and the town have both put forth programs to support the federal workers who were not paid last month for work that they've performed. Our program is called TD Cares Payment Assistance Fund, and it's available to all federal employees who might need deferment in payments or relief on their payments to the bank. So we're quite proud of that program as well. Thank you. On the news front, West Hartford was once again named one of the best residential communities in America by Money Magazine, and I believe we're the only town in Connecticut to receive that designation, so congratulations to really all of us. TD, on the other hand, was named as a great place to work and made the top 40 best companies list by Fortune magazine. We are also again honored to once again be named a top 50 company by Diversity Inc. for our diversity and inclusion initiatives. And we've also received recognition by the Human Rights Campaign Foundation as a best place to work for the LGBTQ community. On the financial ratings front, it's interesting to note that both the town of West Hartford and TD Bank share the highest ratings from our bond and agencies in our country. The town received a AAA rating recently for some revenue that they've raised recently. So again, it shows the financial discipline and the budget process that we've maintained, not in recent years, but really throughout our year. So it's again a great effort on the town's part. And TD, again, we're one of the safest banks in the country, well managed and well financed. So I encourage you to stop by one of our stores in West Hartford. We have 2 locations here in town, one on Bishop's Corner and one on South Main Street. I think you'll find the energy in our stores to be different, whatever it's the green color, the lollipops, but more importantly, the people that you deal with. Hopefully will make a difference. We have a new campaign going on right now. It's called Unexpectedly Human. And trying to recognize what that means. You'll see some ads and some information coming out over the next several months. It's really trying to connect with people as individuals and to make our business a little more fun and personal. I want to share a quick story about a customer of ours that visited our South Main Street store. And he told me, he goes, "I love your store, I love the people here, I love your long hours." Interesting story, he said, interesting enough, my dog also loves your store. And I got a chuckle at that because many of you may know that we are a pet-friendly store. And he told me that as he pulls up into our drive-thru to visit the teller, his dog gets all excited because the dog knows he's going to get a dog treat at the end of the transaction. So happy dog, happy pet owner, and a great way to start a relationship with TD Bank. It's always easy to introduce someone who shares the values that we do in giving back to the community, and Shari Cantor certainly represents those values. Mayor Shari Cantor was born and raised in West Hartford, a graduate of Hall High School. Before becoming mayor in 2016 and deputy mayor in 2011, she served in the town council since 2004. Shari graduated magna cum laude with an accounting degree from the UConn School of Business. After UConn, Shari worked for Coopers & Lybrand, which is now PwC, in audit and tax, and earned her CPA designation. She was then recruited to Cigna, working in investments and special projects, including working on a McKinsey & Company study, and ultimately served as manager in the underwriting group. Shari is a Yukon Board of Trustee and has been serving since her appointment in 2014. She has devoted significant time to many volunteer leadership opportunities, including the American Heart Association, the Connecticut Children's Medical Center, the West Hartford Rotary, Food Chair, Jewish Federation of Greater Hartford, the West Hartford Art League, the Hartford Symphony Orchestra, and the American School for the Deaf. She and her husband Michael were awarded the Anti-Defamation League Torch of Liberty Award in October of 2017. Shari was inducted into the University of Connecticut School of Business Hall of Fame in March 2017, and she was also named a Malta Wonder Woman in 2016, Best Community Leader in Hartford Magazine in 2012, West Hartford Rotarian of the Year in 2011-2012, and in 2011, Hartford Magazine put her on the best dressed list. These are her words, not mine, but so please welcome Mayor Shari Cantor.
One technical thing.
Oh, yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Much better. Thank you all for braving this very cold morning. I want to thank TD Bank for your sponsorship and Steve for your wonderful introduction. And for obviously for all of you being here. Again, I was really nervous when the forecast was cold. And I actually talked to my son in Illinois and I said, it's really cold. It's going to be like 0 degrees. He goes, that is nothing. We got 28 below here. And and they threw water in the air and it started to snow. I don't know if you've seen that on YouTube, but it's crazy. So we are a little bit lucky. I want to start by, we are actually, things can go wrong when you have technology, and we're going to work with technology here, so bear with us if things don't sync up quite right. But we hope to keep you awake throughout the whole program. And if you do stay awake, I might do a cartwheel, so there you go. I wore pants, so. I want to thank Renee. This could not have happened without Renee's help and support throughout this whole program. She is remarkable. I also want to thank some of the town staff that are here, and if I miss you, I'm sorry. I don't have my glasses, so I'm not going to probably see who you are. But I know Town Manager Matt Hart is here. Finance Director Pete Privatera, I think, is here. I'm not sure. Developmental Director Mark McGovern is here. Economic Development Specialist Kristen Gorski. Police Chief Vernon Riddick. Assistant Police Chiefs Bob McHugh and Dan Coppinger. Fire Chief Greg Priest is here. And I know our Town Clerk, A.S.A. Lebrow, is here, but I don't know if there's anybody else that's not for the town staff that's here. Thank you. I want to thank my family for being here, and my husband really deserves an award because he was in Amsterdam Monday and Tuesday, and then yesterday had to go to Tampa for dinner, for a meeting for dinner, and his flight was canceled. and so he calls me at 9:30 and he said, my flight's canceled, but I'm on the 7 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, I don't know about that, hon. It's going to be really cold here. So he goes, all right. I'm going. So he flew to Westchester at 11:30, got in at 2:30, rented a car, and got home at 4. So I'm tired because he woke me at 4. But I can't tell you how much the support, I run out the door a lot, and his support is remarkable. I also am thrilled to have my oldest, I have 4 sons, and 1 and 3 are here. And my oldest son, Josh Cantor, is here, and my, not third in love, but third in place, in birth order, is Ben, and his girlfriend, Trish, are also here. So I'm thrilled to have them. And most special, is my mom is 90 years old, and she's here to join us, so I'm thrilled. So I want to recognize our state reps. Jillian Gilchrist is here, brand new state rep. Welcome. And a veteran, Derek Slatt. And some of my colleagues are here. My Board of Ed Chair, Carol Blanks, is here. And I know that Mary Fay is here from the Town Council. I'm not sure if there's anybody else here. I also want to give a thank you to Barbara and say we're all jealous of her in Florida. But she really created the model for this, and we're so grateful for all that she has done for the community. And welcome, Chris. You're off to a great start. And Jessie has done a great job. I don't know if you all have met Jessie Bouclier. She is an administrative assistant and organized much of the event today. And thank you for that. And also thank you to the beautiful Delamar Hotel for hosting us again. So. I also want to congratulate Beth Bai on her appointment to Governor Lamont's administration, but that leaves the Senate seat open. So I want to make sure that you know that there is a special election on February 26th to fill the 5th senatorial district seat, which represents all of West Hartford as well as some other communities throughout the region. So please, please vote. Don't let that slip your calendar. And Essie is taking absentees. If you need them, talk to her. We're going to start off with a warm-up, actually, but it's not really a warm-up. So, when the temperature drops like it has, it makes us say the words, "It's so cold," to almost everyone we see. I thought it'd be fun to share some jokes because laughter is a great way to warm up. So, are you ready? You're going to say, "It's so cold, the optometrist is giving away free ice scrapers with eyeglasses." How cold is it? It's so cold. Richard Simmons started wearing pants. It's so cold, squirrels in the park are throwing themselves against the electric fence. Dogs are wearing cats. When the cows are milked, we get ice cream. Roosters are rushing into KFC and begging to use the pressure cooker. One more. Lastly, it's so cold, Dunkin' Donuts is serving coffee on a stick. So, all right, now we're all warmed up. So I was thinking about the format of this, and I was thinking about how do I get the message out and do this in a way that's engaging and entertaining? And I thought the most effective way, I think in the last few years we've learned one thing. The most effective way to communicate complex and sensitive issues is by Twitter, right? Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. So here we go, but seriously, feel free to Twitter and share. So we have a hashtag theme here, so we're gonna go through the talk that way. So we're starting out with the first hashtag, Proud Mayor. Just a couple of weeks ago, as Steve said, Moody's and Standard & Poor's have reaffirmed our AAA bond rating. This is not something that just happens. It is something that requires continued investment and fiscal responsibility in our community, and that was clear by the verbiage that both of these rating agencies said. Highly rated communities are desirable, safe, vibrant, and continue to attract investment and reinvestment. There are only a select number of municipalities around the country and in Connecticut that have this coveted designation. And like Steve said, and I need to repeat this, we have been named by Money Magazine as one of the top 50 places to live in the country. And people notice that. When they're looking for a place to live or invest, they notice these things. So, and the top in Connecticut, which really is remarkable. On Friday, my husband and I were invited actually by Senator Blumenthal to a panel, a statewide panel. And both of us were really taken aback. We were introducing ourselves, and I'm Mayor West Hartford, and we live in West Hartford, and people were talking about where they live. And one comment really gave me pause, and it said, it's not what you have as a community, but what you do. So I've been thinking about this a lot. And I see what we do as a community is how we treat each other. It's kind of what Steve was saying with TD. How our residents engage with each other, with us, with the town officials, how they connect to one another, how they volunteer, and how they serve and make a difference. What we do is our highly professional staff, starting with our town manager and our directors, but it's the high expectations and hard work of every person that works at the town, and the expectation that they will do the best work and that real focus on customer service. But one of the biggest things, and I know Scott Slifka used to say, if we had a religion, it would be education in our schools. Our schools are critical to the success of our town. I bumped into Dr. Karen List, the prior superintendent, on Saturday night at the Bridge Charity Ball, the Children's Charity Ball, and she shared with me what we do resonates. There is a West Hartford way. I know we sound a little, self-absorbed, but it's true. We have high expectations, our diverse school population is celebrated, and we remain committed to educating the whole student, inspiring and nurturing, stretching and supporting. When I went to my first new teacher luncheon when I became mayor, the principals were introducing their new teachers. And one of the principals was talking about why he was attracted to West Hartford. And he said, because nothing is adequate. Nothing is never enough. Adequacy is never enough, he said, but being satisfied is never enough. They're striving to do and to be better, and that's the West Hartford way. As our previous town manager, Ron Van Winkle, always said to me, you don't just buy a house in West Hartford, you buy a community. So I am very humbled, very proud with this special community. And we have had a very difficult patch in December with a house destroyed by fire, a fatal accident on Park Road, and then a heartbreaking and tragic event that impacted a beloved family. Our community showed its heart and has come running and supported the families, the first responders, and that's what makes us stronger. So I'm very, very proud of that. I'm proud of what we're recognized for and for what we do. For our welcoming, warm, vibrant, and safe community that's known for its extraordinary schools, strong town management and leadership, engaged citizens and elected officials, and the best residents and businesses in the state. So give yourselves a hand. So we are in Connecticut, hashtag West Hartford in Connecticut. We have a new governor and a new legislative session that is in full swing. Just this past Tuesday, and we know we have great things in Connecticut, but we have some challenges. But just this past Tuesday, Connecticut Mirror had an article stating Connecticut's recovery from the Great Recession generally is viewed as lagging the nation's, particularly when it comes to job growth. But a new analysis from the Pew Charitable Trust shows Connecticut among the leaders in one key metric, state tax revenue growth. They stated that there are 36 states with tax collections that exceeded their pre-recession peak. In fact, Connecticut was 12th, 12th highest in terms of revenue growth, or 16.3%, its pre-recession mark after adjustments for inflation. So things are bubbling around the state, and there's a lot of positive news and much potential. There are structural deficits and a revenue stream that has not been changed in decades to respond to changing economic times and trends. So discussions and debates are in full swing. And new revenue streams are being discussed, from tolls, sales tax expansion, recreational marijuana, and sports betting. I'm going to touch on those just a little bit. I'm not a state elected official. We have a couple, one here now, but there will impact, obviously, all communities in West Hartford. How the state restructures, so what? Like, how does it impact us? The state restructures will have an impact on all municipalities, whether it's regionalization. West Hartford actually is the 9th largest community in the state of Connecticut, and the largest suburb, and, you might not know this, the largest town in New England. It's a designation we hold when Framingham became a city. So there you go. But smaller towns have probably more benefit from regionalizing than a larger community like West Hartford. But we are involved in regional activities, including a regional health district. We are part of MDC, an 8-town regional water and sewer district. We practice mutual aid for public safety. We participate in state purchasing, and we have bargaining units in our state health plan. We just had, 6 firefighters that graduated from the Hartford Fire Academy with Hartford and New Britain graduates, saving $50,000, providing a cooperative experience. Thank you, Chief Priest, for your leadership. We currently are considering other opportunities. It may be fire training, police shooting range, animal shelter, waste and recycling opportunities, much more to follow. But regionalization, it has its benefits, but we always need to look at the impact on the community and balance that with the potential savings and loss of control that comes with that. One of the other things that West Hartford, we receive municipal aid. We receive about $22 million per year, primarily education cost sharing, which is 20.5 of that. 7% of our budget is comes from state aid. So, revenues, some of the ideas that I mentioned to you. Sales tax on goods and services, you've heard a lot about the expansion potentially of sales tax, and that will be discussed at the state level. Whether the statewide sales tax rate should be changed as well, is whether something, or some of that going back to a municipality. Sports betting. Sports betting is a little more challenging. Joe Varengia actually shared this with me. Actually, because of the tribe relationships that we have to negotiate through them, but also we have to go through Washington, D.C. Many other states do not have to do that. So that's a little bit more complicated. Highway tolls. There had been talk about truck-only tolls, no tolls, trucks, or all vehicles. There was a DOT study that estimated that about $1 billion annually could be earned through tolls if all vehicles are tolled. And that's but there's the truck-only idea, and that idea is playing out in Rhode Island right now. They're actually in court over the American Trucking Association is suing the state of Rhode Island, claiming that the roadworks project, the tolling just on trucks, the $5 billion project violates, it disproportionately affects out-of-state operators. So, but we do have a bad reputation. According to the Mass DOT, Connecticut drivers are the worst, at least when it comes to skipping out on paying tolls. And I will say that my husband's probably on that list, because I constantly am getting notices about tolls that he has not paid. Anyway, I'm like, how hard is it to put up that, whatever. So we will find out more. And I think it's partly because many of states have tolls and we don't, and we're out of practice, I don't know. Legal, and good segue, legalization on recreational marijuana. Revenue estimates vary greatly depending if it is to pass, and how it is taxed, between $30 million as much as $180 million. 10 states already have legalized marijuana: Massachusetts, Vermont, Maine, Michigan, Washington, Oregon, Nevada, California. My mom's leaving tomorrow, Mom. Colorado and Alaska. And 19 other states, including Connecticut, are considering it. So, revenue diversification. We scream sometimes, the town manager and I often, scream about the lack of flexibility in the way we fund municipal services. The motor vehicle, it's personal property, motor vehicle, and the largest piece being real estate. There's talk about a motor vehicle cap shift because there are different mill rates in different communities. A car costs more in Hartford than it does in Greenwich. So, there's this need, or, there's this inequitability. But it's a shift because it's coming from this pot to fund the budget. So, what municipalities need is stability and predictability. We can't have swings in revenue because we're tied to contracts, we're tied to building, our support, for our buildings. We don't have the flexibility. And West Hartford is primarily a residential community. 89% of our revenue are property taxes, 7%, like I mentioned, in state aid, 4% fees and permits, and the rest is property taxes, and 72% are residential. So it really impacts our residents. So what are our possible savings in the state level? The state thinks that the towns could be more efficient, and by maybe doing regionalization or by streamlining. But CCM did a study last year that showed that local government expenditures in Connecticut outside of education, and that varies greatly by municipality, expenditures in Connecticut ranked 50th of all states, which I thought was pretty surprising. So the state is also discussing its own efficiencies between improved technology focus, coordination between departments, addressing structural costs, looking at all facilities, obviously wage and benefit and unfunded liability structures, and private-public partnerships. Just this morning, there was a discussion of a new potential private-public partnership to serve the residents of Connecticut. But much more to follow on the state level, and how these are handled will impact us, and we will be speaking at the state level if we need to, and we will be in constant contact with our legislative delegation. But we need to think and prepare and control what we can. So we want to be as efficient and productive as we can in this rigid and stable structure. Again, we can't react quickly. When, in the past budget cycles, when there was a swing of $0 to $25 million reduction in budget, municipalities can't react that way. It just doesn't work. So we continually analyze the best way to provide health care. We just actually moved our teachers to the state plan. That was a better fit for us, and we always are going out to bid to make sure that those contracts are the best for the town and the employees. Meet our pension obligations. We look at how best to structure, how to change those plan designs so the normal costs continue to go down. And we continue to invest in infrastructure, and because we have actually created a level energy cost because we've added energy savings, infrastructure improvements, sustainability improvements that have offset the increases, the rises in electric cost. So it's stabilized it for us. At some point that might not work, but we're still pursuing those things. But pursuing revenue sources, whether we do fees for use or potential diversification, those are ideas. Otherwise, everything's on the property tax model. We also were looking at the impact of the SALT, which is the state and local federal tax deduction, and how that will impact. So that is the deduction for taxpayers of high tax states who actually almost all of them receive less federal money, so we fund ourselves. But we're limited in what we can deduct. If you exceed the standard deduction, that's limited to $10,000. And for a state like Connecticut, Massachusetts, New Jersey, New York, those are really challenging. So severe weather. Over there, good job, Renee. Severe weather is also a challenge, increasing challenge, and how do we prepare and make sure that we're ready? We know that there are increased patterns of drought and rain, and so we're feeling that. We also are experiencing firsthand the broken apart vortex that's dropping, and that's due to climate change. And the eastern part of the U.S. and the Midwest is in this incredibly frigid pattern right now. And it's going to swing back up 50 degrees, which really puts stress on infrastructure, on pipes. So we need to reinvest in that infrastructure to make sure that we are sustainable and that we can react. The other thing is public safety. Public safety, when things go wrong, they're the ones that need to respond. So it's really important that we invest in that need. Our school and public security have been an increasing focus on all municipalities throughout the country. We have had to invest a lot of money in school security, including securing all the entryways into the schools. We have new locking systems. We have procured and placed security cameras at all of our public schools, police department, public works facilities, municipal garages and parking lots, so behave, like don't pee in the parking lot or something. We will see you. These can be monitored from the police department. I'm sorry, I have 4 sons. What can I tell you? And allow increased coverage and security through our schools and our town. My husband's going, oh, yeah. We also have the increase in opioid addiction and overdoses that is facing our country. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention declared overdoses an epidemic, and from opioids an epidemic. It's a public safety and human service challenge, so we rely very heavily, again, on our public safety officials, but also on our social service professionals, some of them are here, and utilize resources from community organizations such as the Bridge Family Center. So I got a text that Bob Mueller was at Max's Oyster Bar. And I said, that person has too much facial hair to be Bob Mueller. Don't you think? So then I get a text saying that, no, it was Jack Burns, dad from Meet the Parents, inviting West Hartford to be part of the Circle of Trust. So really? That's not fake news. He really was here at the Max's Oyster Bar. So, Robert De Niro, just making sure you're awake. That's all. Okay, trending now. A New England industrial boom. So it's really actually exciting what's happening if you take a look, and sometimes don't get caught up in all the press sometimes. Industrial property sales and leasing have increased in the greater Hartford area. They have risen, actually vacancies have fallen by 7.7%, and rents have risen by 5.5%. Office space is still pretty stable, although West Hartford has very little vacancy at all. The greater Hartford region, I'm sorry, I went to the, okay. Yep, the greater Hartford region is on its way to becoming a health care center for the state and the country. Between Jackson Lab, partnerships at CCMC, a Yukon Biotech Biomed, the focus on personalized medicine, Aetna and CVS, and Cigna and Express Scripts. And the Hartford region is a top 5 tech hub in the nation, according to the Hartford Business Journal. Infosys opened in September. Almost a third of their workers are hired. Google Tech is opening in 3 cities, including Hartford. Stanley Advanced Manufacturing Research Center actually is having an international global meeting right now, and there are some people that told me they couldn't be here, that they're there. And I think Michael was supposed to go to that, but sorry, hon. And the Tech Star Accelerator is off to a great start. InsurTech Accelerator at Upward Hartford is also a huge attraction for insurance companies, and many other incubators and accelerators are in the planning phase. And FinTech with a focus on blockchain and AI. So you will notice that blockchain is super complicated, and people have asked me, like, what does that mean? Is that, Bitcoin and blah, blah. It's really hard to understand. So I decided it might be wise to break it down, and we started to just start with Boxcoin as Bitcoin, and you will see them on your table. And so there is one winner on every table. So Renee will there's a green sticker on your chair, although you can look after I finish speaking, Ben. Anyway, so you get a little taste of maybe what's to come. Connecticut population peaked in 2013 and was the only state in New England to report a lower population last year, and that's a concern. But West Hartford's grew almost 2%. Connecticut is becoming increasingly diverse, and West Hartford actually is showing, all statistics show that. There are over 80 languages represented in West Hartford Public Schools. Over 1,900 West Hartford Public School students, nearly 20%, live in homes where English is not their primary language. West Hartford is one of 48 Connecticut municipalities projected to see a rise in their school-age population between 2020 and 2030. Many municipalities will see a drop of 15%. West Hartford expects a rise of about 3%. Meanwhile, 65-plus populations, Michael, you're almost there, for West Hartford is projected to increase by 1%. He was checking his phone, so I just had wealth and need. West Hartford is, I think, you snorted. As Steve mentioned, people think of West Hartford as a wealth community, and we are. We actually pay the 5th highest to the state in income tax, but we have significant need. We actually had a record number, 740 children with our Back to School Backpack program. Social services also served 408 households through the Thanksgiving program and 450 children through the Children's Holiday program. That's 10 and 20% respective increase from the previous year. In addition, over 6,300 bags of food were distributed through the food pantry, feeding more than 725 West Hartford families. So as I say, we have significant wealth, but significant need. And again, Connecticut, this was from the Comptroller's Office, Connecticut was ranked first in the nation for paying the most federal income taxes and getting the least federal dollars in return, according to the Rockefeller Institute of Government. Connecticut is one of 10 donor states that essentially help other states that receive more than they send to Washington, D.C. And the dynamic is not as dramatic in West Hartford, but that dynamic definitely exists. So, West Hartford strong. Like, so one of the things, and I had talked to you about the schools, but I just need to elaborate a little bit. We are one of the highest ranked school systems in the country. Yet, our per pupil spending is 117th out of 169 towns. Both Hall and Cantor, but that also is, we're also nationally ranked, right? Both Hall and Cantor were ranked 11 and 12 best high schools in the state, and 443 and 445 in the country out of over 20,000 high schools. Top 2%. So, and our per pupil spending was far less than the top 15 our comparable that were ranked in the top 15, and in some cases, like a third less, or almost a half. This is remarkable. Tom Moore, our superintendent of schools, said, "It's unique to find both of our schools so highly on this list. By almost any metric, we are the most efficient, the most diverse, and have the highest number of students receiving free and reduced lunch. Hall and Cantor stand out not just for their performance, but also for how efficiently our teachers and administrators work at educating a diverse student body. When taken in context, the results are nothing less than stunning." That was from Tom. So that, remarkable. As far as public safety goes, the town of West Hartford continues to invest in the highest professional staff, fire and paramedic service, and I receive anecdotal, and the chief does too, how grateful lives that are saved by minutes and seconds on a response rate. The town also has seen an overall decrease in serious crime by 14.5% during the past calendar year. However, motor vehicle theft, as I'm sure you hear, all over Connecticut actually has been up. So, Renee, to remind, the PSA is lock your cars and don't leave valuable things in your car, and don't leave your pocketbook with your key fob in the car, because that just makes things way too easy. And this is the police department's dog, Axel, so meet Axel. So, all right. So I talked about the AAA bond rating. We're one of 17 communities in Connecticut, but only about a couple percent in the whole country have this coveted bond rating, and even fewer since 1974. We had the highest collection rate ever, 99.4% of our property taxes, which is remarkable, and our unemployment trends lower than the state and the region. We're at 3.3%, and I think that's even ticked a little lower since like last month, and compared to 4.4% in Connecticut and 4.5% in Hartford. Home prices are above average in West Hartford. We were one of only 12 communities since 2008 that kept or increased home values. The median home value in West Hartford is now $313,500, an increase of 82% since 2000. So that means if you invested in a house in 2000, it's worth a lot more today. And obviously that varies, and if you didn't, fix your toilet or whatever, it might be a problem. But according to the American Community Survey, 66% of Hartford's 7,000 rental units have a gross rent of over $1,000, and 13% have a gross rent of under $750. So we have a wide variety of housing options within our community. People continue to invest in their properties. The building permits rose to almost 6,300 in 2018 from 4,300 in 2009. So, and our grand list has continued to grow year after year after year. And again, that's the value of homes. It's also new investment. So 68% in 10 years. And development all across town, I think, as Steve was saying. We, at Corbin's Corner, when retail, in a lot of places around the country, malls are emptying out, we saw this redevelopment of the former Sears property, one of the first in the country, that is a vibrant multi-business shopping destination, shopping and dining destination. REI, Shake Shack, Danny Meyer went to Trinity. I went to the ribbon cutting. He was so happy to be back in Hartford and visiting his daughter, who also goes to Trinity. Fun fact. But and Bye Bye Baby and Saks Off Fifth. Bishop's Corner is going to be seeing the reinvigorated arrival of Target soon. Spaces, a unique office sharing environment, will occupy the former REI store. The Village Auxiliary Second Chance Shop was just actually in the paper today. A new thrift store opened in the Clothes Horse space. Tomorrow I'm going to a ribbon cutting for Connecticut Organic Pasta on New Britain Avenue. And of course the Yukon property has been sold, and a proposed global fintech, I have to do this very carefully because our attorneys are watching, a proposed global fintech campus is in the planning phase. Is that okay? Okay. Along New Park Corridor, an opportunity zone has been created with state grants for a new streetscape between the Connecticut fast track stations, transit stations, and of course, as all of you know, there's new restaurants and fitness, and they pretty much line up across the town. And residential is in full boom. I think last year I had talked about millennials and part of the trends in upscale living, and we are seeing that. We've seen what's been built has been successful and then approved. Oops, sorry. So fueling West Hartford's multifamily boom, experts say, is the growing demand for newer amenity-laden housing in proximity to where millennials want to live, work, and play. New residential development, including apartments, condos, and single-family homes, are all over town. 616 New Park, a mixed income 54-unit apartment building, also provides 20 units of rental housing, I think it's 20. The West Hartford Housing Authority really pulled together such a great project, right? And you can live there and not own a car. It's pretty remarkable. 243 Steel Road, 30 apartment units added to the already 160 luxury units that are all leased. One Park is the largest multifamily development that we have seen in the town's history, $60 million to remake 330 living units. Homes at Glen Hill Estates is a new neighborhood of 15 new homes located at 660 Mountain Road, and condos on Arlington, South Quaker, and townhomes on Ringgold are all being developed now. But I'm not going to tell you everything, because you can come back to the Chamber's Economic Development Update, and the town's Economic Development Specialist, Kristen Gorski, and Director of Community Development, Mark McGovern, will fill you in the rest of the way. Infrastructure. So how do we become better? You know, how do we continue to have this drive and people invest and reinvest? One of them is transportation, is Park Road I-84 interchange. That was a big project, and we're so proud of our town engineer, Dwayne Martin, who led the reconfiguration of the interchange to improve the capacity, efficiency, and safety for all vehicles. 30,000 vehicles per day get off and on that exchange right there. So it was opened, actually, and we don't do a ribbon cutting on a highway like that, doesn't work, but it was opened December 7th, and really marked a milestone for the project. There will be a continuation of the improvements on Park Road and Troutbrook Drive. So 80% of that, actually, we brought Senator Murphy to that location to show him how unsafe it was. 80% was funded by the federal government, 10% by the state, and 10% by the town. So really proud of that. North Main Street bridge replacement. I think you've seen some information on that. We have a 1901 bridge that is being rehabilitated on North Main Street. It will be somewhat disruptive, but it's really an important project. Half town funded, half state funded. Work is expected to start in the spring. One of the big infrastructure investments we did make was Charter Oak Academy. It opened in August of 2016. But it was awarded the 2018 Green Building Award of Honor from the Connecticut Green Building Council in the institutional projects category. And it really is unique. It is almost 88,000 circular schoolhouse. It has 560 pre-K through 5th grade student, and it maximizes energy savings It has geothermal wells and 100 kilowatt photovoltaic array on the roof. It's really remarkable. The school is LEED Gold certified. So we're really proud of those investments. The hall size, you know, I graduated from Hall High, as my bio said. The Hall High science labs had not been changed since Hall High was built, and definitely since I had been there, and I'm old, so they were over 50 years old. So a significant reinvestment and state-of-the-art, and this really is the push to actually educate our kids in cutting-edge STEM. It's a $12.8 million project that was funded by the state by $8 million. So truly an investment in our children's future, and I think our country's future, actually, in science and STEM. Leisure services, we continue to work and improve our leisure services. Hopefully, many of you have gone to Rockledge to see what they have done, the expansion of the deck, and the restaurant, the new starter shack at Buena Vista Golf Course, and interior renovations at Cornerstone Aquatics that include an ADA accessible family changing rooms and a new lobby area, and then improvements that are parking lots and sidewalks that also. Police Dispatch Center. So the state actually upgraded its system to allow for 911 video and technology that could feed into the system. So we actually had to upgrade our systems. I'll talk a little bit about that too. And then that's really, okay. All right, we did a little, that's an old slide. Okay. John F. Kennedy said, "Change is the law of life, and those who look to the past and present are certain to miss the future." In West Hartford, we've seen changes in how we do business, and here are several new ventures I'm happy to share with you. So, the people new ventures. I think you met Matt briefly last year, but he's been here now for a year and a half, and in a first full year as town manager. We have a new executive assistant that Matt brought on board, Brittany Stevenson, and we have our new police chief that was hired in May here, it was hired, 2018, and our new fire chief hired in November. So really, top staff that are new to the team, and I hope you get to meet them. If you haven't already, please do. We have incentive zoning ordinances that really, we're hoping really do some reinvestment in the center. The BC zone is a special development district, and the town council approved allowing more density if there are public benefits that are provided by the developer, including affordable housing, public open space, public art, infill development, and structured parking. The industrial zone, and I talked about the new park corridor, we have changed the zoning on that over time, and it has added to, we couldn't have residential in an industrial zone, which was a new thing. We couldn't have a brewery. All of those things, a food truck park, all of those things have allowed us to maximize the potential in a TOD area, and we know that there are developers that are very interested in investing in that area, as well as the opportunity zone on New Park. There were 72 opportunity zones in the state, and that is the capital gains federal tax deferment program, and one of those areas was New Park. And we've already, again, seen committed developers that are really interested in that area. And in addition to the infrastructure changes that we're going to be making to that area, we received a $3.5 million grant for streetscape improvements, and that will transform that corridor. And then technology, accessibility, and efficiencies. We just had a training on board docs. We're going paperless, and it may be a little bumpy, right, Essie? But we're going to get there. So very cool. I mean, that's really state of the art, and anybody can follow and refer to anything that the council is doing and all of the committee work as well. The Next Gen 911 is something I mentioned. I actually had a friend who sister was murdered by her estranged husband. And she actually asked me, could we, this was a number of years ago, and could we text? You know, if she could have texted, it could have saved her life. Well, it took a long time to get here, but we're here. The 911 system does allow for text and for voice, photos, videos, and allows our first responders to get that information as well. Big improvement. eCode 360 is a state library grant that allows us to have all of our printed agendas, the town council, public hearings, and minutes dating back to 1970. I know you are rapt and want to get on that system and go back in time and just, okay. Vital Check. Town Clerk's Office introduced Vital Check, which is an expedited process for issuing vital records such as birth, death, and marriage certificates. Hoopla is a new collection of downloadable ebooks, e-audiobooks, movies, and music, and now available to West Hartford residents using their library cards, and also allows for simultaneous use, so a lot of capacity there. It's the only system that allows that. And Power School, elementary schools still were getting handwritten report cards. Now they're on Power School, just like the higher level schools, middle school and high school, and that's exciting for them. And I'm sure the teachers that don't have to write all that out. Sustainable Connecticut. Town of West Hartford, it was one of the first Connecticut municipalities to achieve certification as a Sustainable Connecticut community. The town met high standards in a broad range of sustainability accomplishments to qualify, including, and they really measure a lot of categories, 9 sustainable impact areas ranging from thriving local economies, vibrant arts and culture, clean transportation, and diverse housing. And we will be working towards achieving the next level. Okay, now it's time for a little interaction. So the town of West Hartford embarked on an initiative to produce a new logo, and we did a survey and received about 1,000 responses, and it was for words that meant, what did West Hartford mean to you? So some of the words were top-rated schools, best place to raise a family, high quality of life, vibrant, diverse, and engaged community. And based on the community feedback, these 2 logos have been chosen. So you may cast your vote after I finish on the sheet on your table, and an online survey will also follow. I'm almost done. So we are, we talk about being the best place to live. I'm not going to go through the categories, but we are, not only do we think we're the best place to live, but all those people think we're the best place to live too. So and again, the accolades come through year after year, and these things matter, and people look at them. So I will close by saying that we are always evolving and striving to be the best community we can be. We cannot stand still or we will fall behind. We continue to innovate and strategize, strengthen and build our community. We are better when we work together and support each other. I want to thank you all for your investment in West Hartford and the community, all that you do to support the whole community of West Hartford. I see how you support each and welcome each other at ribbon cuttings, business after hours, connection breakfasts, flow events like last night at Fleming's, economic development update, the golf tournament, and so much more. And people feel it and businesses feel it. As your volunteer mayor, I'm reminded daily of the amazing volunteers that contribute in so many ways to our community. As Coretta Scott King said, the greatness of a community is most accurately measured by the compassionate actions of its members. And before I take questions, I just want to remind you of 2 very special dates. Save the Date for the Mayor's Charity Ball on May 11th. It is a grand event, the white tent in front of the lawn on Town Hall, and it benefits the Town That Cares, which provides all of that's our social service nonprofit arm that provides the support of our food pantry and our backpacks, as well as the Playhouse on Park. And the other is Celebrate West Hartford, that attracts 35,000 people and will be held on June 1st and 2nd. And please contact Linda Geisler. Linda, are you here? Okay, there she is, and to learn more. So I want to just say thank you again for everything that you do for our community. Thank you.